I don't know exactly how it's going to happen. I don't necessarily know that I want to know. This is quite an adventure. And there is really something very profound about living in the moment. Because then you really pay attention. You're not thinking past it. You're really grateful for the moments that you're in right now and really gratified for those moments that you have. Because time is really the only currency that we have. It's not money, it's time. There's not a minute you can get back. You can always make another dollar, but there's not a minute once it's gone that you can get back. I wanted to share with you the definition of who we are supposed to be, or who we're going to become. I've asked this question several times, and finally, Visayas, after much hemming and hawing, agreed to share it with me, who they see us becoming. Is it possible to have just a little light here? Okay. You're the man. I have to be more specific. Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay. I wish I knew what I did with it. Okay. I asked one time in just pure desperation, what's going to happen to us? And, they've had a hard time with some of my passion and my emotions. I mean, I'm a Terran, and we use them here, not always responsibly, but we do. So I was just like, what is it that you want me to do? Just out of pure frustration. What's going to happen to us? And I just screamed at Visayas. And he just very calmly looked at me, and he goes, this is how we foresee who you will all become. Responsible freedom of self-determination, becoming truly self-confident and free, to unconditionally be responsible for yourself without being coerced by some other authority. Okay? They've said many, many times, we are already who we need to be. It's just a question of remembering. And in that remembering, it's about letting go of what we would perceive as mistakes, of regrets. I had a contact in the 90s, and it was at a particular time in my life where just a lot of things weren't going well. And I didn't see any point in even being here. And I was with them on the ship, and I'm like, okay, I'm already in another reality. I just want to stay with you. And that was my request. I just want to stay with you. Don't even bother to take me back. I don't care about anything there. And I literally, with just the clothes on my back, I was ready to go. I was done. Unfortunately, they were not going to allow that to happen. And I was forced to come back. And I'm standing on the ground, and I'm watching them leave, and I'm crying. I'm like, you're abandoning me. And I don't want to be here. And Visayas was at the door, and he just very quietly and in his way telepathically said, Alex, the love that you withhold is the pain that you carry, lifetime after lifetime. And that was a real aha moment, okay? And it was an aha moment because we make decisions like that without ever thinking about them, really. You know, somebody calls us on the phone, hey, I really need to talk to you, I have a situation, and you're like, you know, I've had a crappy day, I can't be bothered with it. And you just don't call them back. Or the kids want to do something, you know, and you know they really want to do it, and you're just too tired, you say, no, we're not going to do it. And the decision isn't that you could do it, the decision is that you chose not to do it. And maybe those aren't the best examples, but we all have made choices to withhold love. From partners, from family, from ourselves. We've all made those decisions. And those are tough. Those are really, really tough to look at. You know, we've all been there. And being consciously aware of not choosing to withhold love is an amazing feat. And it is not an easy one either. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't remind myself of that. I mean, that was an aha moment that's with me every day now. Doesn't always mean that, you know, I always make the best choices or the right choices. I wanted to share also with you something that they have shared regarding time. No, I'm going to wait on that. On the worship of the isness. Now, one of the first questions that I had for them when I was a little boy, these contacts started when I was 8 years old, and I was vacationing in the upper northern peninsula of Michigan. My family was living in Illinois at the time, Elk Grove Village, Illinois, and my grandparents owned a cabin up near the Woodstock Crooked Lake area of northern Michigan. And we used to go up there every summer, and it was awesome. It was just an awesome place. And the first contact, we had gone out into some fields we had all the family there. It was a big gathering, all the cousins, and we were on a family picnic. And we went up there we went out to this huge field where the picnic area was, and it was very high grass and acorn trees everywhere, chestnut trees, and we went out to play hide and go seek. Because the grass was tall, a lot of us would just lay down on the grass and we would just hang out. Well, that's what I did, and it was, you know, mid-afternoon. I don't know the exact time because, you know, children don't pay attention to that. But when I came back and I realized that I was on the ground, it was nighttime. But what had happened was I had fallen asleep, and the next thing I remember is I am on this table, and there are two gentlemen standing on either side of me, Visayas and Mornay. Now, what's interesting is that I had an absolute instant recognition of who they were. And I cannot explain it, other than it was a soul connection. But you know, when you meet somebody, you know you just know them. It was one of those. And they were very, very sensitive. They were very warm. They were very friendly. I didn't feel a moment of fear whatsoever. And I remember them helping me sit up, and I'm just looking, and I'm, well, where am I? And Visayas said, well, you are with us. And I said, well, where's that? And he said, well, you are aboard our craft. We have come back to visit you. And at that point, monitors, the walls were just like this, right here. Okay, but round, circular. There was a light in the room that I simply don't know where it came from because there were no light fixtures whatsoever. The table was just some kind of a metal table with a pad on it, except it was a different type of metal. And all of a sudden, monitors start popping out from the walls.